the very best day to pay off your credit card bill, why it is not your payment due date, and how paying it off on the right day will boost your credit score immediately. I'm Alex Stoermer, I'm a self-made millionaire, and this is the channel for wealth builders. Here, we cover financial education topics and proven investing strategies, and we do it with zero conflict of interest because I don't have any investments to sell you. Now, if you'd like a step-by-step on how to build a perfect 850 credit score for $0 and from the ground up, you can watch this best performing video I've ever had right here. In today's video, we're going to cover the very best day to pay off your credit card bill. Let's dive in. Well, first, we need to realize that there are two perspectives from which we could define quote-unquote best. The first possible perspective is from that of our personal cash flow. This would translate into something like paying off our credit card on the day we're paid, probably something like, say, Fridays. But the second perspective from which to consider what is quote-unquote best is from that of the other parties involved, and there are actually two. Specifically, in first, the credit card company, and second, the credit reporting agency. And therefore, there are actually 2 days to be aware of, neither of which is a consistent day of the week. So the first takeaway is that it's not the day that matters, but rather 2 specific dates. The first date we'll discuss is called the payment due date, and the second is the statement closing date. Both actually matter for a wealth builder, but for different reasons. Let's start with the payment due date. The payment due date is the one we tend to focus on, and for good reason. The payment due date is the date necessary for an on-time payment, and it's the date after which you will have to start making interest payments for any remaining balance. It's generally 21 or so days after the statement closing date for any given billing cycle. And so to avoid the insane interest rates of most credit cards, you'll want to make sure your credit cards are paid off by the payment due date for each cycle. However, that's not enough for a top-tier credit score, meaning you could consistently pay your card off by the payment due date each month and still get dinged on your credit report. How could that possibly be? This phenomenon ties the 2 third-party dates together, and so let's define the statement closing date next. The statement closing date is the last day in a billing cycle. Now, a billing cycle generally lasts 28 or 30 or 31 days, depending on the particular bank issuing the card. It's also the day you receive your credit card statement. The statement closing date is the date the card issuer uses to calculate a few things. It's the date used to start the calculation interest charges you'll have to pay later if you don't pay the balance off by the payment due date. And it's the date used to calculate your next minimum payment. However, and this is critical, the statement closing date is also the date the card issuer reports your data to the credit reporting agencies. Now, this is done as part of the regular process used for those agencies to give you a credit score. So let's say you've only been paying attention to the payment due date and not the statement closing date. By paying the card off by the payment due date, you prevent interest charges and credit score dings for late payments. And those are both good things, but again, it's not the whole story. This nasty scenario of paying your card off by the payment due date, but inadvertently damaging your credit score all the while comes about like this. Irrespective of any payment due date scenario, if you have any balance at the time of your statement closing date, that balance will be reported to the credit reporting agencies, and it will count towards your credit utilization ratio. And a high credit utilization ratio will lower your credit score. Let's get into an example. Looking at this statement of mine for April, you can see that the statement closing date is April 16 and the payment due date is May 13. The balance on the April 16 statement closing date was $177.23. With a payment due date of May 13, all I'd need to do is pay the card off by May 13 to avoid any late fees or interest, and I would be in good standing with the credit card company. But going back to my statement date, the balance showed that original $177 and change, and that was reported to the credit reporting agencies, who then calculated my credit utilization ratio. Specifically, it would have been $177 on an $8,250 credit limit, which is 2.1%. Now, my ratio of 2.1% here isn't a problem from a credit score perspective. But to illustrate the point, let's imagine that in addition to that $177 and change, I had made an additional charge of $4,000, and that I made it on 4/13. 3 days before my statement date of 4/16. The credit reporting agencies would have calculated my credit utilization ratio, but this time it would have been $4,177 over $8,250, or 51%. And that ratio is a big red flag to those agencies, and my credit would have been dinged. Even if I had paid that full $4,177 off before the next payment due date on 5/13. This is still a problem, and that's because there was the large balance showing upon the statement closing date. And that's exactly how to inadvertently get your credit score dinged even if you pay the card off in full each month. Now, let's cover a few FAQs. Should you leave a small balance on your credit card each month to help your credit score? The answer here is no. Leaving a small balance on your credit card at the statement closing date will not increase your credit score. But as we just discussed, having a zero balance on your statement closing date can help your score. If you have to carry a balance on your credit card, should you pay it down every time you have extra money or do it in one lump sum? You should be able to make as many payments towards your credit card bill per month as you like. And although the method by which your interest is calculated can vary, depending on the card as described in what's called the Stoermer box, it could be calculated as frequently as daily. The answer, therefore, is that you should absolutely pay your card down as quickly as possible, even if it's in small, frequent payments. It can't hurt, and it may well help. So if we care about our credit overall, we need to care about both the payment due date and the statement closing date, but for different reasons. To avoid late fees and interest, pay the card off by the payment due date. To avoid all that plus a drop in your credit score, pay it off or as much as you can by the statement closing date. And overall, it makes financial sense to pay the card down as quickly as possible, even if it's in small, frequent payments. Now, what separates me from some of the biggest names in personal finance? Well, on other channels after a video like this, you'll find a bunch of links to sign up for credit cards. Not on my channel. Call me Dave Ramsey Jr. if you like, but my financial value system is to have zero need for debt as early in our wealth building journey as possible. Now, according to Fortune, 1,700 people per day in America are becoming millionaires, and I want you to become one of them with me. You've probably heard that your future will be the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you could stand to have one more self-made millionaire friend who's encouraging you along the way, well, I propose you subscribe right now. It is, after all, free. I'm Stoermer, reminding you that it's never too late to be the best you've ever been, and I'll see you in the next video.